Hi everyone, this is the first tutorial in the balancing reaction sequence, and I'm definitely going to start with the most simple one. So hopefully you've gone back over and you realize that to the left of the arrow here we have our reactants, and to the right side of the arrow here you have your products. And the very first thing that you always want to do is kind of look at this in two parts. So the left side of the arrow, the number of atoms has to equal the right side of the arrow also. So when I see the left side, I see that there are two silver atoms. So I'm going to kind of start down here and show my work. So I'm going to count that there's two silver on the left, which means there's one oxygen on the left. And on the right side of the equation, I see that there is one silver atom, because there's no subscript, and if there's no subscript, we assume it's a 1. And the oxygen, I see that there are two atoms of oxygen. And based on the law of conservation of mass, we understand that whatever we start with in a reaction, we have to end with in a reaction. And when you look at this, you see two silvers on the reactant side and only one on the product side. So we've got to change something here. So we'll go ahead, and what we can do in this situation is we can add coefficients. So the coefficients actually go in front of the compound. So in front of this compound, I'm going to put a 2 because I want there to be two silver atoms in this equation. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 2 right here. So now I have two silver atoms on both sides of the equation. When I look at the oxygen, I see that I have two oxygen atoms on the right-hand side and only one on the left-hand side. So I'm going to add a coefficient of 2 to the left-hand side. So when I look at this, now I have two oxygen atoms. That coefficient of 2 now gives me two oxygen atoms. So I've gone from 1 to 2. But as you can see, the problem is now I have 4 silver atoms. So that means that I'm going to have to come back over here and change my coefficient so that I have 4 silvers on the other side. So now I've got 4 silver atoms, and I'm going to change my total number of atoms to 4. Now this part down here is obviously not something you have to do until you get comfortable with these, though. It does kind of help you track how many atoms you have of each. So it's kind of like showing your work. But keep in mind the part that balances the equation are these actual coefficients up here. So again, when I look at this, now I see I have 4 silvers. The coefficient of 2 in front of the oxygen gives me 2 oxygens and 2 oxygens on the right-hand side. Keep in mind when you put the coefficient in front of the compound, it applies to everything behind it. So that 2 coefficient applies to the silver and to the oxygen. Let me know what questions you have, guys.